Hi YouTube, welcome back to my channel and welcome back to another review of Love and Marriage Huntsville Season 3 Episode 15, I think, I'm not sure. Wrecking Ball Wanda. Before we get started, go ahead and like this video, subscribe if you can, and leave a comment. So we start off with Maurice and Kimmy. So Maurice takes Kimmy to this property, this wooded property, which he has purchased, and he's going to build on this property. Now, Maurice has Kimmy looking like Boo Boo the Fool out here. So many times, Maurice has had Kimmy looking like Boo Boo the Fool, and I'm not understanding why. I don't do y'all people, do the two of you not live in the same home? I don't understand how there's such a huge lack of communication and how Kimmy can be absolutely clueless with the things that Maurice is doing and what he's up to, and she always finds out at the very last minute. So he takes her to this property. She thinks that this is an this is a property for them to build their dream home. And so she's talking about how she wants the driveway to go, where she wants the pool. And he's just sitting there looking at her, knowing damn well that this property is not a property for them to build their dream home, but instead it's property for him to build, to invest in homes. It's like it's an investment property. He's going to build houses there, or a house or whatever, and then he's going to sell it. It's strictly build to sell, not build to own. And so Kimmy's like, wait a minute, if this is not going to be where we're going to have our dream home, then what the hell am I doing here? Why am I here? And he says, well, of course I don't want to build our home here because I want to build my own home on more than an acre. And this is just investment property. And I brought you here because this is going to be your next big real estate project. So Kimmy's like, what are you talking about? My next big real estate project. Once again, Maurice has failed to communicate with his own wife that I'm assuming he lives with, because I don't say you can live with someone, purchase land, and them not knowing what the land is for. Like, how does that happen? How does someone make a purchase like that and you don't tell your wife exactly what it's for? I just don't understand how that goes. You know, my husband won't buy a loaf of bread without telling me. So I'll be damned if he bought land, property for investment purposes and not tell me what's going on. I just don't understand that at all. So this reminds me of the time when Maurice had her looking like Boo Boo the Fool again, when she was out with the girls and Destiny had brought up, not Destiny, I keep on calling her Destiny, when Tiffany had brought up the whole issue with Monster allegedly, supposedly vaping. So Kimmy runs and tells her husband, hey, you know, this woman came and told me that Monster was vaping at school. And Maurice is like, oh yeah, I've already talked about that with him. Oh yeah, I already knew. And so Kimmy was like, well, why didn't you tell me about it? You know, I have to hear it from a stranger at a social event. And Maurice says, well, Monster didn't want you to know about it. Okay, yeah, we get that Monster probably didn't want Kimmy to know about it. Maybe because I'm assuming that, you know, he holds her in really high regard because the way she kind of carries herself like a very respectable, intelligent woman. And so maybe Monster didn't want to disappoint Kimmy. So, but why couldn't Maurice say, hey, this is what's going on. You know, Monster got caught vaping. He doesn't want you to know because, you know, he thinks the world of you. He doesn't want you to be disappointed in him. So don't tell him that you know. But as his parents, this is your wife. She's helping you raise your son. Why can't you tell Kimmy? Like, that was just bizarre to me that he didn't even tell Kimmy that he knew about Monster vaping, and Kimmy has to hear it from the streets. And so Kimmy's telling him that she wants better communication. She's sick and tired of him putting all the pieces together and then throws her the work to do. Like with the whole real estate thing. She's going to be working with Martell, I guess, and Marcel, whoever else. And so he wants her to do this whole real estate project. So he got everything together. He talked to everybody about it except Kimmy. And now he's like, here you go. You're going to handle it. This is going to be your project. Another thing, back to the Monster vaping thing. So, excuse me, after they discussed the whole, you know, Monster being caught vaping, Maurice had told Kimmy that this is like, I don't know, a few episodes back. I'm going way back in history, but I just got to talk about this. So when they talked about Monster vaping, Maurice had told Kimmy that he was going to meet with his mother, with Monster's mother, Kiowa, and they were going to have a discussion about it. So they meet, right? They meet at a restaurant to talk about Monster. No, and then before Kiowa even arrived to have the discussion, Maurice was like, "Well, I gotta go, so you're gonna go ahead and take care of this conversation with Kiowa about Monster." And Kim was like, "What?" He's like, "Yeah, I got a meeting, so yeah, I gotta go. So it's just gonna be you and Kiowa. So y'all go ahead and handle this." And I'm just like, Maurice, are you like, what's the word? Not taking advantage of, taking your wife for granted that you can just be like this at the last minute, throw stuff at her, and she's just gonna she's just gonna handle it. I was just like, that is so disrespectful. So we're moving on. So we're at Martell and his mom. I think he's at his mother's house. I don't know whose house they're at. But that was a nice couch that she was sitting on. I like that couch. So we're Martell and his mom. And I guess, she's trying to teach him how to fix the baby's hair because he said something about, fixing kids' hair or fixing children's hair. It's woman's work. That was no, not Martell. We're not gonna do that. Not today. No, that is not woman's work. That is parents' work, because not all children, unfortunately, have a mother to fix their hair, and the daddies have to step up. So it's not woman's work. It's just parents' work. So he does the baby's hair, whatever, it looks cute, whatever. And so he has a conversation with his mom about the whole depression thing. He's like, I was, having a conversation with the guys. I don't know if I'm depressed or what's really going on. And the mother's response is a very typical response when it comes to mental health issues in the Black community. She was like, "Oh, no, you're not depressed. You just overworked. That's what you are. You're just overworked. You're not depressed." Well, how do you know? You're not a doctor. If your son is coming to tell you, "Look, I'm having these issues. I'm having these feelings, feeling kind of low. I don't know if I'm trying to, if I'm struggling with the answer is, "Oh, you ain't depressed." That's like a typical answer in the Black community. It's just to minimize it, like say, "No, it's not depression. It's something else," when it could very well be that. So then he says that he's going to talk to a therapist, and then she, bumps that down. She's like, "No, you don't need a therapist. You can be your own therapist." Now, I don't know what his mother's name is. But she's, I like her. I have no issues with her, but she's really old school, really, really, really old fashioned. And we're not doing that. No, we're going to take advantage of therapy. We're going to, acknowledge what we're feeling. We're going to face what we're feeling, and we're going to talk about it. We're going to deal with it. And we're not just going to say that it's something else just to minimize it, just so that we don't have to deal with real feelings. So then they talk about Melody and the song. I don't know how that came up, but it came up. So he was talking about the song, that Melody, her song that she released or whatever. And he said, and the mother said, "Well, yeah, because I heard the kids singing that song, and I told them that, oh, yeah, that song is about your daddy." And Martell was like, "Mama, why would you tell the kids that?" And she was like, "Don't get at me for telling the kids that. You need to get on your ex-wife about why she's singing songs like that, why she's making songs like that. You need to go handle it with her." So here she is deflecting, taking the responsibility off herself. Whatever Melody did, okay, she made a song. Maybe it's about Martell, maybe it's not, who knows. But for her to step in, it's a song that was, it talks about a woman in a troublesome relationship with a man, and then you tell your grandchildren, "Yeah, that song was about your daddy." That's not good either. Martell's mom, that's not cool either. So I didn't like that. For sure, Martell didn't like that, because the whole time he was blaming Melody for telling the kids that the song was about him when, it was his own mother saying it. Okay, so yeah, so that's that. And so he invites his mother to the Destiny race. And so she says she's going to come and support. Then we go to the Scott Imperium. This is when Martell and Maurice are supposed to meet with Dr. Francis Kitt to talk about their feelings and, whether or not what they're struggling with is actually depression or what it is. And Marcel was supposed to also join them. So Maurice calls his brother and says, "Hey, we're waiting for you. Are you on your way?" He was like, "No, I'm not coming. I don't need that." And I'm just like, you must be hiding something. you really must be hiding something, because therapy can be really scary because of the things that you could possibly find out about yourself that you've been trying to suppress, that you've been trying to avoid. And that's very scary. It's one thing to discover things in other people, it's something completely different to discover things within yourself, because then you have no choice but to deal with it. And who wants to admit that they may have issues in them that are troublesome, that need to be fixed, that you could be broken in some way. But that's not an excuse to not deal with them. So Marcel's like, no, I'm not coming. I don't need therapy. I don't want it, so I'm not coming. So we're gonna leave him out. So Dr. Francis Kidd arrives, and he has on this T-shirt, and the T-shirt had a quote on it, and I was really interested in trying to figure out what the quote was, and all I saw were the words, and then of course whoever the quote came from, and all I could see was Dr. K.I. So I thought, oh, this is a Dr. Martin Luther King quote, and the quote was, the fear of failure is the enemy of success. And I was like, okay, maybe that was a Dr. King quote. But then later on in that scene, I could clearly see what was on the shirt. And it's not even a Dr. King quote. It's a Dr. Francis Kidd quote. So he's like trying to promote his own T-shirts on this show, because he's probably like, I'm going to make money out of this show one way or another, either from my expertise and my services or me peddling my T-shirts. One way or another, I'm making a dime off of the show. So now, back to Marcel and him not wanting to do therapy. In his confessional, he said that he doesn't really care for Dr. Kidd because, or Dr. Francis as they call him, because he says that he's so eager, he's so ready to agree with the woman. And I was like, where does that come from? What? So he says, yeah, I don't want to talk, or I'm not too crazy about Dr. Francis because he's so willing to see the woman side of things and to agree with the woman, or to agree with men who think like women. And I was deeply offended by that, because I'm like, okay, so what's wrong with the man thinking like a woman? What's wrong with the way we think? I mean, maybe more of y'all need to think like us, and maybe y'all wouldn't be so stressed out and depressed. So yeah, that wasn't good for him to say that, or men who think like, there's nothing wrong with men who think like women. They're probably the smartest men around. Moving on. So Dr. Francis talks to the two guys that are there, which is Maurice and Martel. And I'm going to just kind of, summarize this really, really quick because it wasn't that interesting to me. So, he's basically telling Maurice, hey, you have two wives. You have your job and you have your real life wife. And when you're with your wife, you're busy thinking about your other wife, your job. You're thinking about your phone calls, your emails, da da da. So don't let this hunger for success and to become like this great entrepreneur, don't let that, affect your family, because you're doing this for your family, but in the process, you're going to be losing your family. And that makes no sense. So, take the time to do what you need to do to keep your wife happy, your kids happy, keep the home happy, because you're doing it for them. So you want them to enjoy the fruits of your labor. So don't take it for granted. Don't be one of those people that's just about work, 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 work. I got to work. And you sacrifice your whole family to pursue something that no one can enjoy, because you're doing this for them, but then they won't be there. And then and so when he was telling Maurice that, Martel was listening and paying attention and taking notes, because he was like, yeah, I liked what he said, because, Melody really could have used advice like that, because he felt like, Melody was working too much in their marriage and that she was neglecting him, neglecting the children. So, Martel was like, yeah, Melody could have really used some advice like that. And I'm thinking, well, where did you get out of this? Martel, where did you get out of this? And so, Dr. Francis he talked to Martel. Don't really remember what he said to Martel because I really wasn't paying attention. But he said something. Martel was able to admit that the whole divorce has made him really, really, really sad. And Dr. Francis liked the fact that he admitted that he was sad. And that's all I got from that. Moving on. Oh, also, Marcel really could have benefited from this therapy session, because Marcel is a workaholic, and Tisha's been complaining about him for too long. And if he cares about keeping his wife and keeping his family together and not going down the path of divorce, he probably would have benefited from this. And I'm about to go off on a whole nother tirade about Marcel, but I'm gonna leave that alone. But he definitely could have benefited from this therapy session. Now it's the day of the race, the big destiny race. Everybody shows up, and Martell shows up. Everybody shows up, and they call it the Destiny Race because you're supposed to write down your goals and your dreams and what you want to accomplish out of life. You write it down on a poster board, and then you attach it to a stick or a stake, and then you plot it down in the ground somewhere, and then you're supposed to be running towards your destiny, running towards your goal. So it's a metaphorical, theoretical. I don't know what I'm trying to say. It's supposed to symbolize that trying to achieve your goals. That was the point of the Destiny Race. So okay, so everybody's running. They're having a good time. Blah blah blah. Run run run. Race race race. And then at the end of it all, they're gathering around, and was this when Miss Wanda made her appearance? Yes. Okay, so Miss Wanda shows up, and wait a minute, I'm missing a part. Oh yeah. So when they did their race, I gotta talk about this. When they did their race, um, some people finished fast, some people finished slow or whatever. And this is going to sound kind of like insignificant, but it resonated with me. I liked how Marceau had said in his confessional that the whole point of the race is to discover that, look, not only can you achieve your goals, and you don't have to be the fastest one to accomplish your goals. So you can just go at your own pace, because some people walk the race. You can just go at your own pace, and that's fine. Just go at your own pace. You don't have to like be the fastest one to achieve your goals. And I thought that was a really good point to make. Now, at some point when I don't remember when this happened, but when they were all gathered together, I don't know if it was before the race or after the race. I want to say it was after the race. They're all gathered together, and here we go. Destiny and Lewis are there, and for whatever reason, Destiny felt the need to bring up some negativity. Now, she's always on Martell and Melody's case about they're so full of drama, they're always bringing the party down with their arguments, so on and so forth. But she kind of brought the party down. They're having a good time at this race. Everybody's feeling really positive. It was all for a good cause. And then here she comes with, well, I just don't understand, whenever we get together, there has to be problems. Martell and Melody have to bring everything down. I don't know if she mentioned them specifically, but she was referring to them and their arguments and how they, kind of dampen the mood whenever they start arguing. I'm like, Dustin, this is not the place for this. Shut up. Why are you talking about this? So she felt the need to do that. And then, not Destiny, Tiffany. I keep on saying Destiny. I'm sorry. Tiffany. How am I going to get this woman's name? That's how insignificant she is to me. It's like, I can't even remember her name. Tiffany. Lewis's wife, Tiffany. With the Montgomery Ward's wardrobe. Tiffany. Montgomery Ward. Okay, so Tiffany says, well, how come whenever we get together, it always has to be ruined? And she was referring to Melody and Martell. And that really upset me when she did that, because like I said before, as I was trying to say before, that look, they're having a good time. Everyone's, reveling in this wonderful experience, this wonderful charity event. And here you go, bringing up some nonsense, some crazy stuff that doesn't even need to be mentioned. And then Destiny, the real Destiny, she steps up and she's like, yes. And then she starts talking to Martell and saying, Martell, you're very passive aggressive with Melody. Now, I don't know why Destiny felt the need to be Melody's cheerleader all of a sudden, especially when they're kind of having a rocky time. Maybe she's just trying to prove that she's really loyal to Melody. I don't know. But she's like, yeah, Martell, because, you're very passive aggressive to Melody, and like you'll trigger her, and then you'll say things to her, and then she just completely goes off. And then so Martell was like, well, shouldn't y'all be telling her to calm down and not take the bait and, not react? Because that's what y'all are telling me. So him and Destiny are kind of going at it, because she's trying to make a point and he's trying to make a point. They're talking over each other. And then Martell's mother steps in and she's trying to tell Destiny, hey, this don't got nothing to do with you. Okay, so you need to shut it up. This ain't got nothing to do with you. So she just tries to like shut Destiny up. And Destiny is like, no, you don't understand what I'm trying to say. No, she's trying to make sure she gets her point across. And I liked it when his mother was like, and that's not Martell, that is Mr. Holt to you. That is not your husband. He is not your boyfriend. You don't call him Martell. That is Mr. Holt to you. And Dusty's like, he's also my friend. I'm talking to him because, he's also my friend. It's not just Melody. And so she shuts that down. Mama shut that down real quick. And she says, she's tired of people always ganging up on her boy. And then, but he puts that on himself, really. And then in the confessional, Lewis and Tiffany, they talk about, how she, Martell had to have his mommy come save the day for him. Whatever, shut up. So the Martell's mother, she goes to say goodbye to Melody's mother, who is Miss Vanessa. So she goes over there to say bye to her. It's a very civil, whatever. It's a very civil goodbye. They hug each other. They talk about getting together with the grandkids. They still want to. And I'm just really glad, and I hope it's real, that they are trying to continue to have a relationship between themselves. So for the sake of the children. And, because they would take the kids out together. And I'm pretty sure the kids enjoyed that. And they don't want that to end just because mommy and daddy are not together. So I really liked how they interacted with each other. Because obviously in a divorce, each parent is going to take their child's side. And it doesn't mean that the parents have to also, divorce from each other because you have grandkids in common. So when they're trying to say goodbye to each other, here comes Miss Wanda. Here comes Miss Wanda. Now, I personally, and I don't even know why I'm saying personally because I don't know this one person, but I don't care for Miss Wanda. She's very entertaining. I think she's a huge asset to the show because she is very, very entertaining. But like, if she was someone in my personal life, I would stay the hell away from her. I would stay so far away from her because she would make me mad all the time. And I don't know how Tisha deals with her. So when she showed up, when she showed up at some point, when she arrived, she was greeting her daughter and she was greeting her son-in-law, Marcel. Now, what I thought was interesting was that, she hugged Tisha and she was trying to hug Marcel too. And Marcel really didn't want to touch her. And I've noticed this whenever she tries to hug him or something, he's very standoffish with her. Like when it comes to physical contact. And I don't understand why. This is your mother-in-law. You've known her for years and years and years. Why can't you give your mother-in-law? I mean, is he that physically repulsed by Miss Wanda that he can't even give her a hug? Because he really touched her like she was just covered in filth. Like he didn't want to get any filth on him. That's how it was when she attempted to hug him. He tried to do like this really awkward air hug thing, and it was just really crazy to me. But he seems like he's just disgusted by Miss Wanda. So then, so when the two grandmothers say goodbye to each other, Miss Wanda shows up and she's like, oh, so what y'all talking about? And they're like, oh, we're just talking about our grandbabies. And then Miss Wanda says something about y'all need to talk to Martell and Melody about getting back together again. Like, why? You were the biggest cheerleader, the biggest proponent of this couple's marriage breaking up. Every chance you got, Miss Wanda, you talked about Martell and his cheating ways and the mistress and the love child and this and that and Melody, how can you be with him? Da, da, da. Every chance, every time that camera was on her, she was talking about Melody and Martell's, horrible marriage. And Melody needs to leave, and Martell is cheating, and what about your mistress being pregnant, and what about your secret love child? And so they finally divorce, and they're trying to move on. And here you are talking about they need to get back together again. This is not the first time she's mentioned Martell and Melody getting back together again. Are you crazy? Like, what is wrong with you, Miss Wanda? You wanted people to be separated, divorced. You wanted to cause so much havoc. You brought so much havoc to these people on the internet. From what I hear, I don't follow her. I don't read her tweets or whatever, so I don't know what's going on the internet. But supposedly on the internet, she was talking about it. She talks about it on the show. So they finally got a divorce, and I'm talking about them getting back together again. You sound insane. You sound absolutely ridiculous. So the mothers are like, look, that's got nothing to do with us, and it's definitely got nothing to do with you, so we're not going to talk about that. And then Martell's mom, she dips out. She's like, I don't want no drama. I don't want no mess because I know Miss Wanda gets her blood pressure up. So she dips out. She's gone. So now it's just Miss Wanda and Melody's mother. I think Miss Vanessa is her name. So, where did it even begin? Mama tells Wanda, okay, when I say mom, I'm talking about Miss Vanessa. Miss Vanessa tells Wanda that she calls her out about the stuff that she says on the internet, and she tells Miss Wanda how you say one thing in real life, but then you say something else on the internet, and I think she was referring to specifically that on the internet, Miss Wanda had said that, for those young girls out there who are dealing with married men, make sure that you get as much as the wife does. She said on the internet, referring to Martell and his whole situation with Melody. And all I want to say about that is that when she said that? Okay, so Miss Vanessa said something to Miss Wanda about how what you say in real life is not what you say on the internet. You contradict yourself, and then she says something about and so I'm confusing myself here. Oh, and so then Melody's mom, Miss Vanessa, calls Miss Wanda out for having a boyfriend and a husband. So she's basically like, you're being real hypocritical. You're talking about other people's affairs and infidelity, but you had a whole husband and a whole boyfriend at the same time. And Miss Wanda was like, well, I'm not ashamed of that. Yes, I did. I'm not ashamed of that. And she says, well, what about you cheating? And then Miss Vanessa said, I've never been with a married man, which I thought was interesting that she said that, because when Miss Wanda called her out for cheating, no, she called her out for cheating. Miss Vanessa says, well, I've never been with a married man. But she didn't straight out deny cheating. She just said, well, I don't mess with married men. I've never been with a married man. But she did not deny whether or not she cheated on whoever. So I thought that was interesting. And so then they're going back and forth and all this and that. And then Miss Vanessa tells her, look, I'm not going to go ghetto with you. And so that really, I guess, offended Miss Wanda. And she said in her confessional something about, oh, you'll know when I go ghetto because these earrings will come off, this wig will come off, these shoes will come off, and you'll know for sure when I go ghetto on you. And so then Miss Vanessa says to Miss Wanda, you need to be concerned about your daughter and her husband and not about, my children. You worry about Tisha and Marcel. Keep your hands full with that. And I thought to myself, yeah, that's a really good point. Yeah, you need to just worry about your own daughter and the issues that she's going through with her husband, because obviously Tisha's going through some type of issues there. So they're going back and forth with that. And then Melody comes, and then Tisha shows up, and they're trying to calm their mothers down. And so they're trying to calm their mothers down. And at some point, Tisha had put her hand on Miss Vanessa's arm. And Miss Vanessa was like, get your hand off me. I was like, what? Wow. And so then Tisha tells Miss Vanessa that, you are a bully also. You also have said some things on the internet to my mom, and you're also a bully. And then Melody comes out to her mother's defense, and she tells them, like, your mom is the same way with everybody else. So she's doing, your mom is doing exactly what you're accusing my mom of doing. And so then that goes on. So they're going back and forth with that. It gets really, confusing with everybody talking over each other, so on and so forth. And then Tisha finally pulls her mother away to talk to her mother one-on-one, and tells her mom that she can't act like this, And now, to me, this is really crazy that Tisha is telling her mom that, because I know when her mother was attacking Melody, was going hard on Melody and Martell and their issues, I know for a fact Tisha put a battery in that woman and just kept her going. I know Tisha liked it, because Tisha is really timid, really quiet. She doesn't like confrontation. So her mom did all her dirty work for her. So for her to be like, you can't be acting like this. I know her mom was thinking, but wait a minute. Aren't you the one that encourages me to act like this because you can't fight your own battles? You want me to do it for you? You want me to put people in their place for you? Now you're telling me that I'm doing too much? Figured out what you want me to do. I know that's what she was thinking. She didn't say that on the show, but I know that's what she was thinking. So she tries to calm her mother down. Her mom is like, not trying to hear that. And then then Tisha says to her mother, just like with the whole Kimmy thing. I'm like, what? What does that have to do with anything? So she brings up the whole Kimmy thing, how Miss Wanda had told Tisha that when her and Kimmy were going at it, that Kimmy has stood up and told Miss Wanda to shut the F up. And that's what she told her daughter that Kimmy had said. And then when Tisha confronted Kimmy in Vegas about it, Kimmy completely denied it. And I know Kimmy Kimmy didn't even say that. It wasn't even on camera. She would never have said something like that. So Kimmy told Tisha in Vegas, no, I would never have said that to your mother. And so when she told that to her mom, that Kimmy denied it, Miss Wanda says, well, anyways, she kind of like brushes over it because she knows that she was lying. She knows that she was lying. So she's like, well, anyways, she was still very disrespectful. And that was the end of the episode. Miss Wanda, what are we going to do with you? Like I said, she keeps the show interesting. She's definitely a character. But, ooh, she's just something about her. Oh my God, just something about her can get anybody's blood pressure up. She's a piece of work. And it's like, how does a woman who's so aggressive with her mouth and so out there and so confrontational, how does she have a daughter like Tisha who's just has no voice? She absolutely has no voice, because I know that if Tisha was anything like her mom, she would definitely she wouldn't be so mousy with her own husband. She wouldn't be so, oh, can't believe it. I just got to look in your eyes and I believe whatever you tell me. I believe you. I know who you are. She wouldn't be doing that. So I'm just like amazed how Miss Wanda has a child that's just so quiet and so timid and so non-confrontational. And Miss Wanda's like the complete polar opposite. So that was the episode. It's still too long, but thank you for joining me. If you made it this far, appreciate you so much. Don't forget to like, to comment, and subscribe. Thank you.